Pete and Pillar, The Big Rain, by Jeffrey Stoddard. High in the shady mountains where the crystal river tumbled over big boulders and gently flowed through a lush green valley, there was a town where two unusual friends lived, Pete and Pillar. Pete, a mighty diesel truck with his huge wheels and a tall, bright smokestack, was a hauler. Pete hauled gravel, dirt, and giant rocks. He carried gigantic yellow digging machines to construction sites high up in the rocky roads. He even hauled long beams for building bridges. Pillar was a bulldozer. He rumbled along on heavy steel tracks, pushing rocks and piling tall mounds of dirt with his thick steel blades. He cleared the way for new roads. He leveled hillsides for new barns. He even dug steam beds out of new ponds. Pete and Pillar were best friends, which may seem odd because everybody knows haulers don't talk to diggers. But Pete and Pillar didn't listen to what the other said. They were friends. Not just friends, they were best friends. Every day their friendship grew stronger as they worked side by side. In the winter, when the snow drifts on the pass were so deep, even the road plow stayed in the shed. Pillar cleared the way and Pete spread the sand. When Pete's huge wheels dug into the soft sand and wouldn't go, Pillar came to the rescue. They were such good friends that one day they scraped into each other on purpose. Pete left a splash of red paint on Pillar, and Pillar left a splash of yellow on Pete. Pillar's battery died. Pete had the power to share. Sometimes during the night, while all the others were sleeping, Pete and Pillar would have a belching contest. Pillar usually won. One day, Jack, an old dump truck, came to Pete in the yard. "Listen, Petey, you should stay away from those diggers," said Jack. "They smell like dusty grease and old engine oil. They can't move fast like a hauler." "Yup," said the old trucks. Most of them have broken windows, worn rubber tires, and rusty tracks. They're rusty, smelly, slow grumps. They are. "You watch out, Pete," said Jack. "They're the simply trusted. And if you know what's best for you, you'll stay away from them." That same day, a log road grinder named John stopped Pillar. "Pillar, we need to talk," said John. "Stay away from haulers. They're not like us. They can't dig or push, plow or lift. All they can do is haul. They complain if the load is too heavy or too wide, especially if they have to drive in the mud." John looked both ways and then whispered, "They hate mud. All they want to do is move fast on smooth roads, dump their load, and move on. That hauler may say he's your friend today, but wait until you really need him. You'll turn around and he'll be long gone." Neither Pete or Pillar listened to the rest of the machines. They were inseparable, faithful, best friends. And it began to rain. The sky grew black and deep. Rumbles of thunder echoed through the valley. High on the mountain's peak, the rain came splashing and tumbled down the steep slopes. Drops turned into trickles, that turned into streams. That became a raging flood. Down the valley, a brown water plunged up root trees and washing out bridges. The water rushed over the dam toward the town. All the machines hurried back to their sheds to get out of the rain. If there was one thing all the machines feared, rain. Rainwater creeps into joints and axles, pieces, and parts. And then smooth, shiny metal parts become rust and stiff. And when parts become rust and stiff, they stop working. That's where machines are parking inside sheds forever. Machines don't like rain. Pete and Pillar watched as the rushing water rose higher and higher, eating away the riverbank, and protected the town. Pillar knew what he had to do. If the bank caved in, the town would be flooded. With his big, strong tracks and huge blade, he knew what he had to push more rocks into the bank. He crawled into the raging brown water. The rushing flood swirled around his mighty engine. Steam billowed out as the cold water rushed against him. Pillar dug up into the riverbank and pushed a huge boulder up in the bank. But the water continued to rise. He glanced up to see Pete with his panic in his headlights. Pillar's engine sputtered and coughed as he tried to push another huge boulder into the bank. He glanced up to make sure Pete was okay. Pete was gone. Just like the other diggers had said, when you really need him, he'll be gone. Pillar's heart sank. Then suddenly, the water stopped rising. Exhausted and sad, Pillar slowly climbed out of the river. How could his friend leave him just when Pillar needed him the most? Caked in thick mud and dripping with dirt, water, and looked down and saw the muddy tracks his friend had left. Pillar decided to find Pete and ask him why he disappeared, right when Pillar needed him the most. As the rain stopped, Pillar followed his friend's muddy tracks up the mountain above the town. Little streams of water ran down the road, deep ruts left by Pete. One of the place Pillar could see where his wheels spun, slipped, and nearly slid off the edge. Pillar followed the soggy ruts into the dam high above the town, and there he could hardly believe his eyes. He saw the tip of his bright smokestack sticking out from where the dam had nearly burst. Pete had driven up the muddy, narrow road to the dam and plugged the hole with himself. Pete had sacrificed himself to save his best friend and the town. Pillar rushed back to town as fast as his tracks could roll. He called all the machines, haulers, and diggers to come help him. It took all of them working together in a long line to pull, dig, and push the mighty truck from the muck. Pete was covered in gooey mud from his hood ornament to his taillight. There was so much mud, his wheels refused to roll, so they carried him. Together, the haulers and diggers scraped and scooped and sprayed and wiped away mounds of mucky, sticky mud off Pete. Pillar stayed by his side night and day as he slowly came back to life. Finally, all the mud was gone, and Pete was like a shiny new truck once again, all except for that little splotch of yellow on his fender, and that would never come off. From that day on, diggers and haulers in that small town worked side by side as friends. And if you listen closely to diggers and haulers working on your town, you can hear them toot their horns at each other. Yup, they're talking about Pete and Pillar, two best friends.